Yes, everyone, welcome back to the channel. Doing a quick roundup today of the World Cup so far. Obviously, Qatar 22 was a tournament with a hell of a lot to talk about, and I've been showing you what it's like over here through my vlogs, through some of the match reactions. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see all sorts of stuff going out. But this video, we're talking purely and a bit of a roundup about what's been going on the pitch, and there's a hell of a lot, I think, to talk about. We've had upsets, we've had 0-0s, it seems like I've been to half of them, and plenty of fans in the stands crying and dressed like dicks for Div Bingo. But where are the initial tournament favourites, the ones that we discussed early on? Where are they, what are they doing, and who do we reckon is looking the strongest to try and get their hands on the World Cup? Are there any dark horses that we need to take a note of? Who do I think is maybe stood out, looks like player of the tournament so far? We're going to have a look at all of that and more. This video is brought to you by our partners at Perimatch. So let's talk about the hosts. So far in this tournament, they have struggled to make any sort of mark whatsoever in their group. A 78th minute goal from Montari in their 3-1 defeat to Senegal sent the country into absolute mayhem. And I wonder if that was like, lads, can we just score? Can we get a goal on the score sheet or what? And I wonder if that was literally all they wanted to do for whatever reason. And I think going into the tournaments, the obvious favourites to top that group, the Qatari group, were the Dutch. A win against Senegal got their tournament off to the perfect start, but then a 1-1 draw against Ecuador probably wasn't part of the plan for Louis van Gaal. The Netherlands will win their group though, because they will beat Qatar in that final fixture. But the other group fixture is going to be one that you need to keep an eye on. I think Senegal and Ecuador, whoever wins out of those two is going through. So that's an interesting one to keep an eye on. England, plain sailing against Iran. 6-2 win came with a performance that had everyone talking all sorts of maca as usual about them. Bellingham honestly looked... Bellingham, I could have said some outrageous stuff about on the basis of that game. And all of a sudden, people were talking about England as being someone that could go and do well. Going into the final round of the group, though, England could not qualify. Now, I think the chances of that, and this game is going to be happening probably as you're watching this pretty much, the chances of that happening are extremely, extremely slim. I don't think Wales are going to turn England over, much less do enough to be able to, and all the other fixtures align for them to be able to progress and England not, or for one of the other teams to progress and England to not. But it was a disappointing result to say the least, or performance at least to say, against the USA, who did look quite tasty, it must be said. Two disappointing performances and results, which I think is an understatement, from Wales, and they are all but out, and I think they're going out. If they beat England in a draw between USA and Iran, does see them qualify, but I don't think anybody's expecting that sort of stuff. Their most memorable moment so far was Wayne Hennessy getting himself sent off. And I was with a few of the ex-Welsh lads yesterday, Neil Taylor, Ash Williams, and I think there's a bit of a worry amongst Welsh ex-players and fans that this is the sort of tail end of what was seen as a bit of a golden generation, which those lads were part of in the Euros. And they kind of worried that it might be another 20 years or so before you see a Wales team at another World Cup, which is crazy to think of, isn't it? And I don't know what would have been considered progress. I don't know what would have been considered well done for Wales at this World Cup, but I imagine Welsh fans, the Welsh FA, are probably trying to put together some sort of a plan that sees them actually compete. Because what are you doing as Wales? Are you sort of relying on Swansea City to produce your entire nation's sort of players? Where are the Welsh players coming from? Where are they being trained? What is the grassroots situation in Wales? I mean, they can talk about that being a drama in England, but just over the border in Wales, that's horrendously bad. Argentina. So the whole world was shocked, not just by the result, but the performance of Saudi Arabia. I think a lot of people was talking like Messi might score 3 or 4 goals in this game. Wasn't the case. It wasn't a smash and grab. Saudi Arabia outplayed them, and the place was rocking. They thoroughly deserved their victory. And then a moment of brilliance over Mexico. saw Lionel Messi enter the World Cup. After, we all saw the memes, didn't we, of the "Where's Messi" from the Saudi Arabia fans, which I thought was brilliant. And they're back on track, and a win against Poland sees them through into the knockouts. It is currently Poland who sit top of Group C with 2 games, however. A win against Saudi Arabia and a draw against Mexico. If they win or draw against Argentina, that's going to see Lewandowski through to the next round, but it's a really tough group to call. Saudi Arabia could, Mexico have been poor. Saudi Arabia could smash Mexico, and should Argentina draw or beat Poland, that sees Saudi Arabia go through to the knockouts. That, for me, has to go down. I think they're going to beat Mexico. And I think that's going to be one of the massive shocks. The massive shocks of this tournament is Saudi Arabia finding themselves in a knockout. They were picked as one of the 3 or 4 worst teams coming into this, yet they could easily find themselves in, let's be honest, a hell of a group. Poland and Mexico have got some serious pedigree about them. Whether they've turned up or not is a different matter, but the pedigree was absolutely there. Group D. So, world champions France, one of the 3 teams that are guaranteed to be in the knockout phases at the time of me recording this, with the others being Portugal and Brazil. They have been the most impressive team so far for me, out of the favourites. Saudi Arabia have impressed me, but these have impressed me in a big, big way. Ghana have impressed me as well, and we'll talk about them in a little bit. So, they scored 6 in their opening 2 matches. Mbappe looks like he could be dangerous going into the latter stages. He could be the Golden Boot winner. And for the rest of the group, it's extremely close. Tunisia, France, Australia. If there's no upset in the Tunisia-France game, Australia only need to get a draw to get through. Which, speaking to Rene last year, I think it might have been that I spoke to Rene, they was literally looking at, can we win a game at the World Cup, would have been like a target for them. So if Australia find themselves in a knockout stage, well done to Rene and the coaching staff there in Australia, because they have got, you talk about Wales' small pool. Australia's pool is a larger population, but how many of them are playing football? It's way down the list, probably behind CrossFit, definitely behind both codes of rugby. It is a very minor sport in Australia. And it's probably behind athletics and even Australian rules. It is a minor sport. So for them to find themselves potentially going to the knockout stages is bloody well done for them. In Group E, a group which has had 2 World Cup winners in it in recent times. And I think personally everyone was sleeping, and I definitely did it myself, on Spain. And I thought Germany would have done a lot better than they have done. Now, this is a group that has just completely not gone to plan. Yeah, Spain sit top of the group with 4 points. You expect that to qualify. However, an upset against Japan means that the 2014 champions, Germany, are rock bottom of the group after 2 games. If they beat Costa Rica, which you would expect that they do, and Spain don't slip up against Japan, which is entirely possible, Germany will scrape themselves through. But it does not look good for Germany as it stands at the moment. Spain managed to hit 7 past Costa Rica, so the Germans will fancy their chances. But they can't go out in the groups 2 World Cups in a row, can they? And this is why I don't take Gareth Southgate beating Germany as the biggest thing that people seem to want to play it up as last year in the Euros. This is not the Germany that won the World Cup. This is a Germany that's ranked very, very lowly, and for quite good reason. Though you look at their 11 on paper, it's way better than what they're getting out of it at the moment. But this is not the Germany of old. Belgium, I think, have also disappointed, and aside with that much talent, should be doing a hell of a lot better. Croatia face Belgium Thursday, and it's going to be a tough one because Croatia obviously reached the 2018 final. They've got Modric still pulling the strings in midfield, and they look magic at times during the 4-1 win over Canada, but they can't afford to start as slowly as they have done again. Group F could go either way. Canada are out, and I think they was probably a decent dark horse. They had a couple of stars in there, didn't they? But they didn't really have the sort of depth, the same level as anywhere else. If Morocco beat them and Belgium don't beat Croatia, Belgium are out. There's still so much to play for in this. Brazil have impressed, and a bit like France, without, they've lost some superstars. Neymar, of course, is going to be a loss for them. We don't know when he's going to be back. His ankle does look like it's in shit state, but They convincingly beat Serbia, and then Casemiro managed to secure a 1-0 win over Switzerland. Richarlison has been pretty good, in particular, scoring twice in that first game against Serbia. He's got 9 goals for Brazil now in 7 games this year. And if Neymar's not back for the knockouts, what if it's Richarlison that fires Brazil to a World Cup? Stranger things have happened. Serbia drew 3-3 with Cameroon, and that honestly was one of the games of the tournament so far. These are the ones that you want to turn up for. Just a back and forth, like a basketball game almost at times. 2 total clashes of tactical styles. You had Serbia just trying to be technical and trying to pass, and Cameroon just having it. Loads of goals, loads of fun, quality game. Really enjoyed it. The other team that have impressed is Portugal. And obviously 2 goals from Bruno Fernandes, or maybe 1, because honestly the controversy around this. If I'm in a dressing room with Cristiano Ronaldo and he's bitching about that goal being awarded to Bruno Fernandes, that could honestly unravel Portugal's chances of going on and winning this thing. If I'm Bruno, I say, mate, if it means that much to you, you have it. I don't care. At the end of the day, what matters here is winning, getting through the games. What are we doing? But they're playing well, and I hope something like this doesn't derail what's going on with Portugal, because it could do. It's pure selfishness from Ronaldo. Portugal has got quality all over the pitch, and I actually think that they've got a very real shot at winning this thing. My prediction, which now looks all over the place because I had Denmark beating France, but my prediction video that I did earlier, we spoke about an Argentina-Portugal final. It's still on the cards. It is very much still on the cards, and I had Argentina winning it, but if I had to choose right now, I might lean to Portugal winning it. And you've got to remember the other semi-final was Brazil against Argentina. I think that could go the other way now. It might be looking at a Brazil-Portugal final. All Ghana need for qualification is a draw against Uruguay. And honestly, Uruguay have been the worst team to watch out here. They've stumped the place out. They've been horrendous. Nunes hasn't impressed. Suarez has been shit. Cavani's had limited involvement. Palestre, he's not done anything, in all honesty. So from a United angle, there's not really too much in that. But Ghana, I hold my hands up. I said I was going to support Ghana at this World Cup. I've still not got my hands on a shirt. If I can get hold of a Ghana shirt, yeah, I'll definitely be rocking a Ghana shirt, because they have impressed and they've definitely proved me wrong, but probably a lot of the world wrong as well, because they were ranked very, very low coming into this, and they've absolutely smashed it. The favourites going into the tournament were definitely Brazil, Argentina, France, and then I think Portugal were maybe in a little bit of an island on their own just outside them, where people were like, well, this could have gone either way, I reckon. But despite that slip in the opening game by Argentina, they've still got a huge chance of going the entire way. But I've been most impressed with France. They've been ruthless in attack, with talent all over the pitch, despite the injuries, despite the players that they've lost. Giroud has been doing his job. He's been linking the play together really nice. Varane back in the team, teaming up nicely with Upamecano. Mbappe is just an absolute piss take of a player. 3 goals and an assist in only 2 games. I did wonder before the tournament, could have everything that's kind of been going on with Mbappe and the sort of reputation he's got about being a very, very selfish player have impacted what goes on with France. It still could, but as it stands in the group stage, he looks like he's just a pure positive impact on the team because of the talent that gets out on the pitch. But the player of the tournament for me so far has been Griezmann. I think he has been the biggest key to the French success in Qatar. He's moved back to Atletico. His confidence is back. And that weirdness that he had with how much Atletico had to pay Barcelona if he played a certain number of minutes, it might have actually benefited him. Because whereas a lot of people have just redlined themselves right up to the tournament, Griezmann's just been chilling in like 2nd or 3rd gear because he's not actually had to, do a full shift at any point. The first half against Denmark, he was absolutely dominant. Against Australia, had 88 touches, had 6 key passes, 3 big chances. He's won all of his tackles and group duels, as well as intercepting the ball twice. This is a man that can do everything, and I think because there's always been bigger stars in the French team, and there's currently bigger stars in the French team, people are sleeping on just how good Griezmann has been. And I hope he gets the recognition he deserves on the back of this. Underdogs. Right, look. I watched England versus USA, and to say I was unimpressed, I might have called it a disgrace, is understatement probably, but I think England could be the underdogs. You can't call Brazil or Argentina or France an underdog, right? You can't. And if you think you can, you're wrong. I don't think you can call Portugal an underdog. You can't. They've recently won international silverware. They've got litany of talent. So who's your underdogs? I think it's got to be England. Southgate's in-game management has been poor at best. But there was a hell of a lot to be impressed with against Iran, and maybe England decided to take it off a little bit against America. It certainly looked like that, didn't it? Most teams have a bit of a dodgy game in a tournament anyway. Italy only just scraped out the group in 2006 and then went off on one. Spain lost their opener to Switzerland in 2010, obviously went on and won the thing. The quality players in England's side, Kane, Bellingham, Rice, Rashford, Saka, Foden, they are enough to get England over the line. Now, I still don't think it'll be happening, but that's why they're the underdogs. They could surprise us. The defence is definitely England's weak spot, but it's doing all right so far. They were controlling and dominant against Iran. And to be honest, some of the football that they played, in the first half especially, against America was very good. Some of the patterns that they played were very good. I think Southgate's just got to let the handbrake off. And this England team could surprise me. And it could surprise all of us. Maguire and Stones have been pretty good when they've had to deal with a lot. The worry is always the pace in and around them. Shaw and Trippier have been pretty solid and a threat going forward. But I am looking forward to the rest of the World Cup. Please let me know your best moments, your most memorable moments, your favourite game so far. Get in the comments with all of that sort of stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.